Hello, gorgeous. My name is Miranda, and welcome back to What You Water. This is episode 2 of our self-therapy series, and today we're going to be talking about emotions. Just like the last episode, in this episode I will ask you some questions to get you thinking about your emotions, and I will be providing some journal prompts that might help you begin to identify your emotions, differentiate between your emotions and your feelings, and begin to assess what your emotional needs are. So let's get started. Question 1. What are emotions? As defined by the American Psychological Association, emotions are conscious mental reactions such as anger or fear, subjectively experienced as strong feelings, usually directed towards a specific object, person, event, or state of affairs, and typically accompanied by psychological and behavioral changes in the body. So my interpretation of that is that emotions are both interpreted in the mind and experienced in the body. According to Psychology Today, emotions are real-time data sparked by sensations in the body. This is why many mental and emotional health advocates will suggest doing some form of somatic exercise because it uses the mind-body connection to help you listen to signals from your body on pain, discomfort, or imbalance, whether that be emotional or physical. Question 2. Is there a difference between emotions and feelings? Short answer, yes. I've noticed, and probably you have too, that when people speak about these things, that they interchange the word emotions and feelings to mean the same thing, when in actuality, they do have different meanings. So here's the long answer. Feelings, as defined by Merriam-Webster, are a subjective response to a person, thing, or situation. Emotions are a chemical response that happen in the body in response to a trigger, like enjoying coffee or disliking the rain. Feelings are the physical and mental sensations that arise as we internalize emotions. They are how we interpret emotions and how we let them sink in. They are also more specific than emotions. For example, anger, which is an emotion, can be expressed through aggression, resentfulness, and vengefulness, which are all feelings. Question 3. How do we begin to identify our emotions? Now, this is going to be the meat and potatoes of today's video. Firstly, it is important to be patient with yourself and to remember that identifying your emotions, also known as emotional literacy, takes time. I'm going to link an article in the description below, which has a more comprehensive look into how to identify your emotions. It comes from Reflection Counseling Services, which is a therapy provider based in Ontario, Canada. I like this article because this is very similar to how I identify my emotions. This is also how it was suggested to me by my therapist. I personally find it easier to express my feelings than to identify my emotions. So the first thing I always ask myself is, what am I feeling? At first in therapy, I had to use a feelings chart. These words don't just come to you. Like, some people might naturally know what words to put with what feelings. That, just like emotional intelligence can be an intuitive thing, I feel like emotional literacy can also be an intuitive thing. People are vastly different, and so it's not that unheard of to think that someone might naturally know how to put words to their feelings. But for those of us that don't, like myself, I needed a feelings chart. If you do a quick search on Google, you will be able to find a feelings chart. All you have to do is type in feelings chart in the search bar. And that article that I'm linking down below will also have a feelings chart provided with the article. So I would read through the feeling words and their meanings, and then I would find the best ones that fit what I was feeling. As I said, it's really important to be patient with yourself, not just in identifying your emotions, but also in the entirety of your healing journey, because a lot of what you're doing, this work that you're doing, is education. You are educating yourself on not only yourself, but on many different subjects outside of yourself, right? You already learned about what self-therapy is. Today we're talking about identifying your emotions. If you don't know what the feelings are, you have to go learn how to do the feelings chart. Like, you are inundating yourself with tons of new information on a very regular basis whenever you take on this journey. So patience is a requirement. And again, go at your own pace. If you want to go fast, go fast. If you want to go slow, go slow. I had to go slow. This is something that I did I've been doing this since I was 17 years old, and I'm going to be 30 in 17 days or whatever, not to like shamelessly plug my birthday or anything. Anywho. So it takes time to get comfortable with these things. I'm not saying that your journey is going to take as long as mine did. Some people's journey might take longer. Some people's journey might take shorter. But just prepare yourself for a lot of learning, a lot of information. Be patient, be gentle, and go at your own pace. Now, this next step, I'm saying it as if it's step 2, but I do feel like these first 2 steps are interchangeable. If you are someone who is more connected with your body, I would do this step first. If you are someone who is more connected with your mind, I would do the step that we just talked about first. So this next thing is checking in with your body. So first, we check in to see what we feel, and then we check in with our body. Or if we're someone who's more connected to our body, first we check in with our body, and then we check in to see what feelings are in our body. It is very common for human beings to store emotions and trauma in different parts of their body. Many people have said they store the stress of responsibilities and burdens in their neck and upper shoulders. There are people who have said that they store this feeling of not being able to face their emotions or an inability to swallow what they're being told. They store that in their abdomen. So that can be like a very avoidant feeling. And many sexual assault survivors and people who have experienced sexual trauma say that they find themselves storing that in their hips and their pelvis. When I think about the human body, I think of it as a moving house. My brain, my heart, and my soul all live here. I feel like my stored trauma are the skeletons in the closets of my house. It's been a goal of mine for a very long time to clear those skeletons out, because I don't think that human beings deserve to feel ashamed or embarrassed about the trauma that they've been through. And we certainly don't deserve to hold on to things that have been done to us. And that is why I believe to heal is to be set free. Oftentimes, when we would begin talking about hard emotions or triggering subjects, I would begin to cry out of anger or anxiety. And a lot of times I would end up having a panic attack. My therapist would encourage me to bring myself back to the present and ground myself within the room. She guided me through what I could feel that was tangible and tactile. The floor beneath my feet, the chair beneath my body, my thighs beneath my hands, the air in the room. Once I had come back into my body and I was no longer rage crying or having a panic attack, she would ask me if I was feeling any discomfort in my body and if there were any feelings attached to that discomfort. For me, I would feel a lot of tension in my neck and my upper shoulders, my chest, my stomach, and my hips. It took me a while to figure out what emotions were attached to that discomfort, and it took me even longer to stop being angry about what put those emotions there in the first place. Sometimes I'm still angry about it, but that's okay, because I'm allowed to be angry about it. Sorry, y'all. This episode's not an easy one. The goal is not to get rid of your emotions. The goal is to work with them so you can work through them. If anger comes up, if hurt comes up, if sadness comes up, you deserve to feel those things. A lot of my trauma and stored emotions were put there by other people. They're not grieving what they did to me. They're not apologetic. They're never going to find me and tell me that they're sorry. And since that's not going to happen for me, then I'm going to grieve for myself. And I'm going to be there for myself, which requires me to be sad for myself and to be angry for myself. And to be proud of myself for moving forward. And to be proud of myself for being so strong. And to remind myself that it's not my fault. And for those of you that are carrying trauma and carrying emotions that don't belong to you, it's not your fault. You deserve to feel whatever it is that you need to feel to process it so that you can release it. I hope that made sense. I got emotional writing the script for this, so I kind of knew that I was going to get emotional talking about it. I just want everyone to be able to release themselves from their pain, because everyone deserves joy. At the end of the day, we all deserve joy. Moving forward. Once we had discovered the emotions that were connected with the discomfort, then we would move forward with figuring out where those emotions had come from. We would figure out how they were affecting me and eventually how to heal and move forward, which now brings us to step 3 and 4. Why am I feeling these emotions and what do I need? By defining our emotions for ourselves, we can begin discovering what situations, people, and experience triggered these emotions in us in the first place. It's important to discover where these feelings are coming from so that you can get rid of the negative influences and pursue the positive ones. I feel like I am always striving to be around people and in places and in situations that inspire me to be the best version of myself. By doing this, I find myself consistently moving forward in my healing journey and experiencing those trauma triggers less and less and less. So once you've identified where you are feeling your emotions, what your emotions are, and why you are feeling them, the next step is to figure out what you need. Now, I believe that this step is mandatory. And at the same time, I do understand how difficult this work is. So again, in my unprofessional opinion, I believe that if you need a moment to do what you want to do before you do what you need to do, that's okay. I would encourage you to think about if the thing that you want to do is going to set you back or hurt you or anyone else in any way. For me, I used to turn to drugs and partying to numb myself from those emotions. And then I would not follow that up with any type of emotional work. I would just keep doing drugs and just keep partying and just keep numbing myself. And then I'd wake up and be like, oh my gosh, why isn't anything changing? Why am I still in pain? This is crazy. Guess I should go do more drugs. Like, it's a miracle that I have any brain cells left at all. Just so we're on the same page. That's not productive. That's harmful, not only to me, but also to those around me. And in the long run, it's going to keep me in the same emotional space that I'm trying to get away from. So now, when I find myself in a negative place emotionally, I do all those things that we talked about previously. If I need a break before I do what I need to do for myself, then I will do things that I like to do that are not harmful. So I'll do my nails, or I'll rot in my bed and scroll on my phone, or I'll get in the car and go for a really nice drive. I live in Texas, so we've got windy roads with trees on either side, and I'll just blare the music up really loud, and I will talk on the phone with people that I care about for hours. I will dance around in my room. I'll sing, like, just things that give me release without adding to the problem. Then once I've gotten that out of my system, I get back to work and I do what I need to do for myself. It is very important to remember that there is a difference between doing what you want to do and doing what you need to do. There is room for both of those things in this healing journey. However, doing what you want to do can happen, but doing what you need to do is a non-negotiable. And it has to get done for you to move forward in your healing journey. And it's up to you to discern when the time is right for you to do what you need to do or do what you want to do. For example, say you're someone who is overworked. You're experiencing burnout. You're snapping at people. You are consistently experiencing the emotion of anxiety, and it's manifesting itself through stress and anger. If things have gotten to the point where you're communicating poorly, having a poor quality of life, and are living in a constant state of discomfort, I would say that's the time to do what you need to do for yourself. You need rest and self-reflection and a break. And time to find a way to balance your life so you're not only working, but you're also experiencing play and joy. Now, on the flip side of that, say you're someone who just went through a really bad breakup. This is a situation where it's okay to do what you want to do before you do what you need to do. Do you want to cry alone at home while eating junk food and watching a movie? Do you want to call a friend to come over and do that with you? Do you want to get dressed up and go downtown and go dancing? Do you want to go to a rage room? Do what you want to do, and then you can do what you need to do to begin the healing process of moving on from that breakup. Hi! It wasn't enough for me to cry in the video. I had to come on here with no makeup on as well. This is Editing Miranda. Hi, missed you. I realized in the video that I didn't tell you, 1, what emotional needs are, and 2, how to find them for yourself. So I thought I'd pop on here really quick and just kind of go through some explanations about emotional needs and then relay to you how I've tried to find what I need emotionally. My laptop's right here, so I'm literally just going to be relaying information. Emotional needs are psychological or mental requirements that help people feel happy, fulfilled, and at peace. When met, they can keep people in balance and are essential for a healthy lifestyle. When unmet, people may feel frustrated, hurt, or dissatisfied. Some examples of emotional needs: affection, trust, autonomy, like independence, empathy, honesty, acceptance, appreciation. Other emotional needs can include security, attention, sense of control, feeling part of a community, emotional intimacy, privacy, sense of status, sense of competence. Okay? I'm going to try to find some more articles about emotional needs that do more of a in-depth take on them, and maybe explain them better than I'm explaining them now. The hard part about emotional needs when it comes to finding your own emotional needs is that it's completely subjective and it's completely up to you. No one is going to have a blueprint for how to find what you need in a given moment, and it's not going to be a cut and dry thing. When I'm going through anxiety, if someone tries to hug me, I get really frustrated because it makes me feel trapped and it makes me feel like I don't have the autonomy that I want, and it begins to make me feel angry. However, when I'm feeling really sad and really lonely, I desperately, desperately need a hug, and I need to be held, and I need to be cuddled. So my emotional needs change depending on what's happening. There are things that you can fulfill for yourself, and then there are things that might need to be fulfilled by others. When I have to fulfill my own emotional needs, I like to sit with myself. I spend a lot of time by myself. I do talk to myself. I will rub my legs or rub my arms, and I will let myself know that it's okay and that everything's fine. Just talking out loud and saying those things is helpful. I will journal. Writing stuff down and getting those, whether they're negative emotions or positive emotions or overwhelmed emotions, whatever it is, getting it out of my body through written word is extremely helpful for me, because it's literally like it's pulling it out of me. Another way that I meet my emotional needs is by crying. I'm a big crier. My crying earlier in this video, that's not even crying. That's like tearing up, because I wasn't even letting myself fully cry, because one, that's me being vulnerable with strangers, and I'm not really ready for that. That's overwhelming to me. And two, it's not about me. These videos are not about me. These videos are about you. Yes, I am sharing this information through my experience, because that's the only way I have to show you what I'm talking about, is through my own lived experiences. But these videos aren't about me. These videos are for you to take this information and implement it into your own lives. So it's not the time for me to heave and cry on the internet. However, when I am meeting my own emotional needs, I cry, and I cry hard. Sometimes I do the sobbing cry. Sometimes I do that kind of cry where like all of the air leaves your body and your mouth is open, but no sound is coming out. Crying is a big way for me to not only release my emotions, but also for me to meet my emotional needs, because I'm allowing myself some form. It's comforting to me in those moments. And then when I am seeking those emotional needs to be met from others, I'm the kind of person who prefers to talk. Like, talking to other people and getting that validation of my experience, getting that validation of my feelings, like that communication is a very big deal to me. So that is something that feels really good. Some people find that their emotional needs get met through quality time, like just sitting in silence with someone who's willing to just spend time with them. Some people find that their emotional needs get met through physical affection. So if you have someone that you can cuddle with. So those are some examples of what emotional needs can be, and like how you can potentially meet your emotional needs. And to find what your emotional needs are is just going to require getting to know yourself. Honestly, it's trial and error. I don't want to actually talk to you when I'm feeling like this. Or I do want someone to hold me right now. You just got to take it one day at a time. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and these things are going to take time. I don't know why I didn't write this part down in the script. I just missed that, I guess. This is just as important as all the other stuff we talk about in today's episode. Hopefully you don't see editing Miranda again, but no promises. I'm a forgetful woman, and you will most likely see me again. Okay, bye! Question 4. How do we begin communicating our feelings and emotions to others? If you find yourself surrounded by people that you don't feel comfortable expressing your emotions or feelings to, I would suggest seeking out friends or community that make you feel safe to express yourself. Now, say you find people or in community that makes you feel safe to express yourself and your feelings, but you don't really know how to communicate those feelings, or you're still feeling a bit hesitant to do so. Don't worry. The hardest part, which is identifying your emotions, is behind you. It's a lot harder to communicate how you feel if you don't know how you feel, right? But you know how you feel. The problem that you're facing now is being vulnerable. Now, vulnerability is a two-way street. It's not just about you being vulnerable with your support system. Your support system needs to be people who you can trust, people who are going to be gentle with you in your vulnerability, and people who are going to provide a safe space for your emotions. I used to struggle with communicating my emotion because I didn't grow up in a very communicative environment, and I oftentimes felt like I had to comfort myself. It felt like there was little interest in validating or understanding my emotions as a child, and that carried on into adulthood. To this day, in certain dynamics, when I try to communicate my emotions, my throat, my lower jaw, and my tongue tighten up really painfully, which goes back to stored trauma. I have a lot of trauma around communication, and that's why this area gets really tight when I start communicating hard feelings. However, I push through that discomfort because not only do I have the tools to handle my physical discomfort, but I also have a support system that wants to hold a safe space for me and is willing to sit with me however long it takes until I can communicate what I'm feeling. Most of the time, when you have found people that care about you, they are willing to sit with you in whatever emotion you're feeling. And they are willing to wait for you to get to the place where you are able to communicate that emotion. So take your time and give your support system a chance to prove to you how much they care about you. You can start small and build up as you go. For example, at first you can say, I hate the feeling of rain on my skin. Eventually, as you keep sharing insights into your feelings, you will get to the big stuff. It might also help you to communicate to your support system that you are uncomfortable expressing your emotions or communicating your feelings, and you're practicing on them. Just say, hey, I'm not ready to deep dive into the big stuff, but I don't know if you've noticed, but I've started telling you that I hate ketchup, or I've started letting you know that I don't like the sound of Velcro. Just let them know that it's your way of practicing so that someday you can open up about bigger things. Over time, you will not only get more comfortable communicating your emotions to them, but you will also have built a strong sense of trust in the people that you've surrounded yourself with. Also, an added benefit of being someone who is willing to communicate their emotions to others is that other people feel safe to communicate their emotions to you, which in turn creates more fulfilling and harmonious relationships of all kinds. And that's what we want, right? That's what I want. Well, that's our episode today, y'all. Once again, I'm incredibly grateful that you took the time to listen, and I hope this episode helps you explore your emotions. As always, this work is not a replacement for therapy. Never hesitate to reach out to a mental health professional if necessary. I forgot to mention in the last episode that I found this free journaling website called Penzu, PENCU.com. It's not a sponsor. We are absolutely not to the place where we're getting sponsors yet. I like to do handwritten journaling. I'm that girl that's super annoying with the whole the smell of the pages of a book and handwritten on a page. It's like a letter in time. With that being said, I'm giving myself carpal tunnel. My hand is about to fall off. I just want to be able to type because I'm still young. I don't want to lose my motor function. Okay. So if you're like me, and you want to type instead of handwrite, Penzu or Penzu, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but that is an option. It's literally free. I don't pay a dime. I just have a login. You can even password protect your journal. Love it. I am still looking into journaling alternatives because I know that journaling is not going to work for everybody. There are all kinds of things you can do. I just need to find the resources for you to do them. And I'm always going to link those down in the description, but I still need to find them. So I am going to have to get back to you on that one. But for today, we do have a online journaling resource. Please let me know if the journaling prompts were helpful, and always be gentle and kind with yourself as you keep going on this healing journey. Today's quote is from Louise L. Hay. Remember, you have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. See you next week.